I have to watch Burl TV show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Welcome to my world. When you coming in, marigolds I guess. Saint hop in a wonderland. Step into my heart. Leave your gifts behind. Welcome to my world. Be with you and I. Thank you, baby.
My name is Candace Stewart and I manage East West Studios in Los Angeles, a historical vintage studio. And one of the things we run into all of the time is this converter, that converter. There is no more argument. The Burl mothership absolutely surpasses everything we've tested. Don't want to name names, but I will. It surpassed everything we've ever used, and I tell you, it makes people are coming into Studio 2, which is a legendary tracking room, and they're doing drums in that room, and they're using the mothership, and they're going to other studios, and they're crying like little babies. So absolutely, and anything that Burl makes is absolutely top of the line, unbelievably well designed. Solid as a rock too, doesn't break down, everything's really, really reliable. I recommend everyone should get anything they make. Their summing mixer, if you're working out of your home, killer. Burl, bomb.
My name is Alina. I'm a mixing engineer in New York. I've just been introduced to Burl in the last year probably. And it was really a mind-shattering experience for me. It sort of removed the veil between digital and analog. I love digital. I was really fortunate that being an analog kid, but also being as young as I am, I was introduced to Pro Tools and tape at exactly the same time. I've always had both. I'm always seeking a balance between them. And in my mixing, when I get tracks in and I go to do my analog processing, I always compare and contrast what I've done and see what's better. I'm really mindful of the generation loss, the digital to analog generation loss that happens when you go through conversion and when you go back again. So sometimes, depending on the quality of conversion that I'm using, the generation loss, the good that I'm getting from, say, like a tube compressor or the Helios line amp, it's not outweighing the bad of that dive that happens when you go from digital to analog and back again. So the first time that I used the Burls, I was just shocked because like 90% of what I wanted to do in my mix, it was better in the analog than it was if I just left it digital. Whereas when I'm using a lower quality converter, depending on the quality, maybe 20% of what I'm doing, the good outweighs the bad. So with the Burl, it just removed that roadblock. So I can do whatever I want in my mixes now. It's really amazing. It's really wonderful and inspiring to work with them. And it's changed everything about every single one of my mixes. It's great.
How you doing? My name is Sarmiento from Sonic Vista Studios, located in the island of Ibiza, Spain, in a 400-year-old villa with 6 studios and 7 bedrooms and beautiful view of the Mediterranean Sea. I use the B2 Bomber, and Burl products are incredible. I use it for my mixing and for my summing right into my mix, going back into Pro Tools, HGX, and it's incredible. Once you go on Burl, you can never go back, and it's the best. The B2 Bomber is such an important tool for me because this is what gives it the analog vibe, but also the nuances and the soul of the music comes out in more depth, which is a very important philosophy of mine and many others in the industry, and it's the best. So I use it for mixing, I use it for mastering, all kinds of different things, and also my vocal chain goes through it, which is basically a vocal chain of SSL, Millennia, GML into the Burl, and again, finding the sweet spot, hit it harder, hit it less, and best for the vocal. So basically, before having the B2 Bomber for my mixes, it was cool, but once I switched over, it was a whole other experience, and the depth and the emotion from the music was much more magical, and really having the ability again to just, hit it harder, hit it less, and just, get more in tune to it, so it's kind of like, it brings so much life into it, and without it, it's such a big difference without it, and it's night and day, so it's amazing.
I'm Alex Saltz with APS Mastering in Astoria, New York, and I started out all digital at the time using a very basic setup, and then as I built my analog chain a few years into it, I started getting very particular about my converters. I heard the Burl A to D the Burl Bomber A to D, and something about it just kind of moved me, I guess. All of a sudden, I felt like I was hearing deeper into the music, and I felt like I was more involved in the sense when I would listen to tape playback or recording. So that's kind of the feeling I got from the Burl stuff. And I've been using it ever since. A to D converters in the mastering game are used often for gain, for level. It's well known in the industry that a lot of mastering engineers, especially old school techniques, were to clip the A to D converter coming in, and then once you get that hot level, you use whatever devices you want to bring the signal down below full scale. There was the Apogee UV1000 device, which was kind of an old school device, which should actually remove the digital overs. But what a lot of people do is they remove it in the output of their workstation, or they might put a limiter and just bring the ceiling down, a tenth of dB. But anyway, getting level, I find it's a different kind of sound. When you push the Burl, you can slam it a lot, and it is very forgiving. More so than a lot of other converters I've used to get that clipped A to D level. Now, clipping the A to D is not for everything, but if the music has, overdriven guitar and distortions naturally, it can be an effective way to get the level up. In some cases, you don't even have to do any limiting digitally in your workstation if you run the signal hot enough into the A to D. So the Burl is just very good at that. And I was lately doing some tests where I was comparing clipping the AD by maybe 6-7 dB and comparing that to using an array of limiting plugins, even clipping plugins, even clipping your workstation internally digitally and then putting a ceiling in that output. The Burl would sound better. There would be a fullness, there would be something to the mid-range that was more desirable and immersive. So that's just another good technique that I think a lot of mastering people use this technique. And if you haven't heard the Burl A to D, maybe check it out, because I think it's really good for that purpose.
Good. My name is Daniel Halter. I am a partner in a company called the License Lab. We do music licensing and publishing, mostly instrumental tracks for film and television. And we use 3 Burl products currently. Everything that I track at my main studio at the License Lab. The studio is called Wire and Vice. And we track everything through the mothership. I've got 16 in and out on the mothership right now. And monitor through the Orca, and some through the Vancouver. And am in love with Burl each step of the way. B32 is second to the mothership in my favorite Burl moments so far. So I'm summing through the mothership, outs, when I'm at mix time. I use stems out of the mothership and hit the Vancouver. And it's special. It kind of does another layer of what the mothership is doing, in the sense that it adds a musical roundness to everything, but it's still punchy. And I run the output of the Vancouver to a 2-bus chain that is just kind of kissing. I kiss like 3 items after the Vancouver, and that's what I'm capturing. Everything you hate about digital is gone, I think. It's just the mothership is clocking my whole room, and when I spit out stems out of the mothership, hit the Vancouver, and capture that back in, it sounds like a flipping record. It sounds awesome. Can't say enough about it.